Welcome to the channel, my name is Stu and this is a story about returning to play electric guitar after putting it down nearly 40 years ago and the lessons learned to get up to speed with the many changes in the music industry when looking to purchase guitars, amps and pedals. So do check out the previous videos, which is the introduction to my journey. Now in the last video you saw that I purchased the Fender Twin Reverb Tone Master. And as a clean amp with beautiful reverb, it's a good piece of kit to have in the studio. But I'm going to need effects, and once again, it was time to investigate and research. So what was I looking for? Well, back in the 1970s, I used all kinds of pedals, which included the rather noisy Wem Copycat. Anyone remember those? But towards the end of my playing days, I had settled on pedals mainly from MXR. And in those days, folks made their own pedal boards and power supplies. But today, there are just so many commercial products to choose from. Now, at first, I didn't want to overcomplicate my setup. Keep it simple if possible. That's my first port of call. So, back on the internet. My searches revealed that multi-effects units were being touted as the way forward, and in some cases complete replacements for amps, cabinets and pedal boards. Due to working most of my life in the broadcast video film production world, I'm fairly forward thinking, but doing away with musical equipment that has been at the heart of the industry, well, it just didn't seem that appealing. Where's the fun in that? Who doesn't like little coloured boxes, often with silly designs all over them? However, I finally settled on the multi-effects unit, the Mooer GE250. So again, quick disclosure, I'm not sponsored or paid to review any products I mention. These are my own observations and my own opinions. So the unit arrived promptly by courier, and at first glance it certainly is of solid construction. This particular model comes with a built-in expression pedal for use as a volume or wah-wah pedal. And overall very neat and a simple layout. Simple is good. Turning the unit on, I rummaged through the buttons along with the instructions to get a general feel for what it did. To begin with, I must admit I found it a little confusing to use after I've never even seen one of these units before. But it soon became clear that this little box of tricks could cover a great deal of effect sounds and frankly, way more anything that I was going to use. So basically, there are two ways to approach the GE250. You can choose from a menu of presets that have been given titles to illustrate what kind of sound you can expect. Or you can make up your own amplifier effects pedal combinations. Turning the value knob will allow you to scroll through the list of presets, with the first one on this unit being called US Clean. And that's corresponding to these buttons below, which light up to tell you what this preset is compiled of. And if I press the DSOD button, and this stands for overdrive, the display shows the pedal in use, and it's called a flex boost. By using the value knob again, we can either alter the pedal controls or we can choose another pedal effect. Pressing the amplifier button again allows for setting alterations or the ability to choose another amplifier. This is the same with the cabinet model, and finally the reverb effects choice. So pressing the display button allows you to see at a glance a visual illustration of the equipment used in that preset and any changes you might want to make. So once I had some time on my hands, I set aside a morning to work my way through every preset to make a note of those that I thought would be of value to me, bearing in mind that it's easy to adjust a chosen preset for fine-tuning. I then typed up my own list with comments to help me quickly choose when doing general recording compositions. That's my commercial film background coming into action. Time is money, and getting from point A to B needs to be done efficiently. So the unit, as you can see, has a good choice of in and out sockets with a USB connection to go straight to a computer. And the one thing this little box did, which I did not expect, was to encourage me to get writing music. How's that, you say? Well, in the mid-1970s, my first attempt at recording, notably double tracking, was by using two relatively inexpensive reel-to-reel tape recorders. And that helped me to put down rhythm guitar and then separately a lead track. And that helped me to adjust chord structures, rethink melody, and other aspects that would motivate my songwriting and playing. So, for those of you not familiar with recording yourself, I really do recommend it because it will really help you to improve, and it's a lot of fun. So, knowing the GE250 had a looper built in, and again, for those unfamiliar with that term, that's the ability to record yourself and then lay down multiple tracks on top of each other. This was something I was very interested in having, such a simple way of laying down tracks and then multi-tracking on top. And every time that I recorded a new track, I could choose a new preset that would complement the previous recorded track. Along with that, I could also choose a simple drum track to keep time or use the built-in metronome. Now, I know that there are dedicated looper pedals that you can purchase, but this unit obviously enables a lot of creative choices in a fairly simple package. And I have to say, some of these multi-effects units are really complex and clearly capable of extensive programming to get what you're after. And for the serious player or the professional, of course, they're very popular, but just not for me. Anyway, it was then I found myself recording till the early hours of the morning, inspired to write songs and musical tracks, and I began writing all these ideas down in a dedicated book. And without doubt, this somewhat simple facility just brought forth an explosion of ideas for songs and musical themes. And for that, for me, this GE250 has been worth the purchase. For those of you who'd like to know how things were recorded, in regard to the ambient recording in my lounge, I used a Sennheiser 416 broadcast shotgun mic about 2 feet from the amplifier straight to the camera, which records at 24-bit 48 kilohertz. However, despite the flurry of creative songwriting, it was clear to me that while the effects choices available are very good, and as said, I've been using it linked up to my computer DAW for ease of creating quick test tracks. For me personally, to my ear, there was something missing, as if there was no soul. It's kind of difficult to pinpoint these kind of feelings, as so much of this is personal to each individual, but I just couldn't shake the feeling that I needed to go back to the world of physical pedals on a board and play through a physical amplifier to get the feel and tone that I was looking for. But it's not just getting the tone, it's because you have that personal close relationship with guitar pedals and amplifier, and I find that I will play with more feeling. Anyone else have thoughts on that? Do comment below. Perhaps you're younger and have grown up in a generation of digital everything and prefer digital audio. I remember a young cinema goer, he told me he disliked older movies that had been shot on celluloid film and preferred the dramatic, colorized and sharper detail of the digital cinematic productions. And certainly I agree that digital visual technologies, they've come a long way from the original digital film cameras that used to be used. And that term organic versus digital was a common discussion in the video film world. Are these things real or imagined? I don't know. And frankly, for me, the one thing it needs to be is fun. If it's not fun, it's time to do something else. So I don't make my living as a musician or a music producer. I don't need to get caught up in those kind of discussions. So in the next video, constructing a pedal board, and oh yes, the need to look into guitars that would bring another dimension to my compositions. And if you like the content, then please subscribe and hit the usual buttons. It's much appreciated. And please do add your own comments below. Be nice. And of course, any questions you think I might be able to help you with. Until next time, the journey continues. Take care.